The gross anatomy of stomach. The stomach is a muscular bag which connects the lower end of esophagus superiorly to the first part of duodenum inferiorly. It is the widest and most distensible part of GIT. It is approximately 10 inches or 25 centimeters in length. The capacity of the stomach at birth is 30 milliliters, which increases to 1 liters at puberty and is approximately 1.5 to 2 liters in an adult. The functions of stomach are: it acts as a reservoir or a storehouse for food. It mixes the food with the digestive gastric juices, and the enzymes present in the gastric juices help in digestion. The hydrochloric acid produced by the gastric glands destroys the bacteria present in the food, and the intrinsic factor produced by the gastric glands helps in the absorption of vitamin B12 in the small intestine. The stomach is situated in the upper left part of the abdomen. It mainly occupies the left hypochondrium, umbilical, and the epigastric regions of the abdomen. Most of the stomach lies under cover of the left costal margin and the lower ribs. The shape of the stomach: it is most commonly J-shaped. However, it is highly variable. It may depend upon the build and the muscle tone of an individual, the volume of fluid or food present in the stomach, the position of the body, and even during the phases of respiration. The shape can be a reverse L-shaped, a semi-lunar shape, or a steer horn shape. The external features of the stomach: it has two surfaces, two ends or orifices, and two borders or curvatures. The two surfaces of the stomach are the anterior surface and the posterior surface. However, as the stomach is rotated around a horizontal axis, the anterior surface faces forwards and upwards, hence also called the anterosuperior surface, and the posterior surface faces backwards and downwards, also called the posterior-inferior surface. The two ends or orifices are the upper end, also called the cardiac orifice, and the lower end, called the pyloric orifice. The cardiac end or the cardiac orifice lies approximately 2.5 centimeters to the left of the median plane, just behind the left 7th costal cartilage. It corresponds to the 11th thoracic vertebral level. There is a physiological sphincter at this end, however, no anatomical sphincter is present. The pyloric end or the pyloric orifice is present at the lower end and connects the stomach to the first part of duodenum. It lies approximately 1.25 centimeters to the right of the median plane at the level of the transpyloric plane, which corresponds to the lower border of the first lumbar vertebra. Both anatomical and physiological sphincters are present here. The anatomical sphincter is mainly formed by the thickening of the circular muscle coat. The pyloric end of the stomach can be identified by the presence of a circular groove or sulcus at this end. In the dissection hall, students must remember that in order to differentiate the two ends, the pyloric end has a firm nodular feel on palpation. This is due to the presence of the anatomical sphincter at the pyloric end. A small vein called a prepyloric vein of Mayo is present on the anterior surface of the pyloric end. This is a surgeon's guide to the pylorus during surgeries. Sometimes an abnormal thickening of the pyloric sphincter may cause a condition called pyloric obstruction or pyloric stenosis. This may be congenital or acquired. It is characterized by projectile vomiting, and during or after meals, peristalsis may be visible in the epigastric region. The shape of the stomach. A hyposthenic stomach, that is, a small short stomach, is more prone to gastric ulcers, whereas a large long stomach called a hypersthenic stomach is more prone to duodenal ulcers. The curvatures or borders of the stomach. The greater curvature, it is the left longer and convex border. It arches upwards, backwards and to the left, forming the fundus, and is 4 to 5 times longer than the lesser curvature. In its upper part, it presents a cardiac notch which separates it from the esophagus. In the lower part, it shows a bulging called the pyloric antrum. The lesser curvature is the right shorter concave border of the stomach. The most dependent part of the lesser curvature is marked by an angular notch, also known as incisura angularis. The attachments of the curvatures. The greater curvature in its lower 2/3 gives attachment to the greater omentum, and in the upper 1/3 it gives attachment to the gastrosplenic ligament, which extends from the fundus to the hilum of spleen, and the gastrophrenic ligament, which extends from the uppermost part of the fundus to the diaphragm. The lesser curvature gives attachment to the lesser omentum. The stomach is divided into two parts: the cardiac part, which is the large proximal part, and the pyloric part, which is the smaller distal part. These two parts are divided with the help of a line which joins the angular notch of lesser curvature to the greater curvature just proximal to the bulge of the pyloric antrum. The large cardiac part can be further subdivided into the fundus and body with the help of a horizontal line extending from the cardiac notch. The fundus is the upper dome-shaped part. It usually extends up to the left fifth intercostal space. It lies just below the left dome of diaphragm and is usually filled with gas. The body is the enormously distended part of the stomach. The pyloric part can be further subdivided with the help of an inconstant sulcus known as the sulcus intermedius, which is present on the greater curvature. This subdivides the pylorus into a proximal part which is wide and is approximately 7.5 centimeters long, called the pyloric antrum, and a distal narrow tubular part which is approximately 2.5 centimeters long, called the pyloric canal. To recap, the stomach has two surfaces, the anterior or the anterosuperior surface and the posterior or the posterior-inferior surface. It has two ends, the upper or the cardiac end or the cardiac orifice, and the lower or the pyloric end or the pyloric orifice, which bears the anatomical pyloric sphincter. It has two curvatures, the lesser curvature giving attachment to the lesser omentum, the greater curvature giving attachment to the greater omentum, the gastrosplenic and the gastrophrenic ligaments. The parts of the stomach are fundus, body, pyloric antrum and the pyloric canal. The interior of the stomach is irregular and reddish brown in color. It gives a velvety appearance. With the help of a hand lens, small depressions can be seen. These are known as gastric pits, and these receive the openings of the gastric glands. Mucosal folds can be seen with the naked eye in an empty stomach. These are known as gastric folds or gastric rugae. These disappear or flatten when the stomach is distended. The gastric rugae are longitudinal along the lesser curvature and irregular in the remaining part of the stomach. The gastric canal, also known as Magenstrasse. It is a longitudinal furrow which is formed along the lesser curvature during swallowing. It is due to the longitudinal rugae in this area. This allows rapid passage of swallowed liquids along the lesser curvature. Endoscopy. It is a procedure wherein a scope is used to directly examine the interior of the stomach in living. Gastric ulcers or peptic ulcers. These are more commonly seen along the lesser curvature of the stomach because the gastric canal, which allows rapid passage of swallowed liquids along the lesser curvature of the stomach, makes this part subject to maximum insult of irritable liquids like alcohol and spicy food, thus making it vulnerable to the gastric ulcers. The epithelium in this region is thin and the mucosa is adherent and non-movable to the underlying submucosa. The blood supply is less and the nerve supply is abundant in this area. It is also more commonly seen in people with the blood group O, or people whose personality they are always in a hurry, or those who worry too much, or those who eat spicy curry. The treatment is antacids. However, if the person becomes resistant to antacids, vagotomy, that is cutting of the vagus nerve, can be done. The muscle coat of the stomach. It consists of 3 layers of muscle. From superficial to deep they are. The outermost lies the longitudinal layer, which is along the curvatures of the stomach. The middle layer is the circular layer. It is this layer which thickens to form the pyloric sphincter. And the innermost layer is made up of oblique muscle fibers, which are mainly responsible for forming the gastric canal. The relations of the stomach can be divided into peritoneal relations and visceral relations. The peritoneal relations are: along the lesser curvature is the lesser omentum, and attached to the greater curvature are the greater omentum and the gastrosplenic and gastrophrenic ligaments. The stomach is lined by peritoneum on both the surfaces except for a small part of the posterior surface of stomach near the cardiac orifice. This area is called the bare area of stomach as it is not covered by peritoneum and lies in direct contact with the left crus of diaphragm. The visceral relations on the anterior surface of the stomach are the left lobe of liver and the quadrate lobe of liver, the diaphragm and the rib cage, and a small triangular part which is directly related to the anterior abdominal wall. The triangle area of the stomach, which is in contact with the anterior abdominal wall, is known as the gastric triangle. The boundaries of the gastric triangle are: to the left lies the left costal margin, to the right lies the lower border of the liver, and inferiorly lies the transverse colon. This gastric triangle is the site for gastrostomy, that is, insertion of a tube into the stomach, usually done to feed patients of complete esophageal obstruction. Trobbe space, a topographic area which overlies the fundus of the stomach. It is bounded superiorly and to the right by the lower border of the left lung, inferiorly by the left costal margin, and to the left lies the spleen. This area overlies the fundus of the stomach which contains gas, hence normally it is resonant on percussion. However, in case of a dull note on percussion, it means an abnormality of the adjoining structures, for example, splenomegaly or a pleural effusion. The posterior surface of the stomach is related to a number of structures which are collectively called the stomach bed. These structures are the diaphragm, the left kidney and suprarenal gland, the pancreas, transverse mesocolon, splenic flexure of colon, spleen, and the splenic artery. All the structures which form the stomach bed are separated from stomach by the lesser sac of peritoneum except for the spleen, which is separated from the stomach by the greater sac. The mnemonic to remember the structures forming the stomach bed is: Dr. S4 kills patients mercilessly. Dr. Diaphragm. S4 stands for the spleen, the splenic artery, splenic flexure, and the suprarenal gland. Kidney, pancreas, and mesocolon. The arterial supply of the stomach. The stomach is supplied along the lesser curvature by the left and right gastric arteries. The left gastric artery is the principal artery of the stomach. It supplies upper two-thirds of the stomach and is a branch of the celiac trunk. The right gastric artery is a branch of the common hepatic artery. It may arise from the proper hepatic or gastroduodenal arteries. Along the greater curvature lie the left and right gastroepiploic arteries, which run in the greater omentum. The left gastroepiploic artery is a branch of the splenic artery, and the right gastroepiploic artery is a branch of the gastroduodenal artery. The fundus is supplied by a number of short gastric arteries, which are branches of the splenic artery. The venous drainage of the stomach. The veins correspond to the arteries and drain directly or indirectly into the portal vein. The right and left gastric veins drain directly into the portal vein. The left gastroepiploic vein and the short gastric veins drain into the splenic vein, whereas the right gastroepiploic vein drains into the superior mesenteric vein. The lymphatic drainage of the stomach. It is clinically important because gastric cancer spreads through the lymphatics. In order to understand the lymphatic drainage, we'll divide the stomach into 4 areas or 4 territories. Along the long axis, the stomach is firstly divided into right 2/3 and left 1/3. The right 2/3 is further subdivided into upper 2/3 and lower 2/3, whereas the left 1/3 is further subdivided into upper 1/3 and lower 2/3, thus forming 4 areas or 4 territories. The right upper part is drained by the left gastric lymph nodes. The right lower part is drained by the right gastric and hepatic lymph nodes. The left upper part drains into the pancreatico-splenic lymph nodes, whereas the left lower part drains into the right gastroepiploic and subpyloric lymph nodes. All efferents from all the above lymph nodes will drain into the celiac lymph nodes and then through the intestinal lymph trunk will ultimately drain into the cisterna chyli. The gastric cancers. These more commonly occur along the greater curvature of the stomach and in the region of the pyloric antrum. They spread via lymphatics. As already discussed, all lymphatics from the stomach drain into the cisterna chyli. From here, along the thoracic duct, they may spread to the left supraclavicular lymph nodes. These left supraclavicular lymph nodes, in case they are enlarged, they are known as Virchow's node, and sometimes these may be the first sign of a carcinoma of stomach, known as Trousier's sign. The nerve supply of stomach is autonomic, that is sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic component is through the 6th to 9th thoracic spinal segments, which travels through the greater splanchnic nerve and through the celiac and hepatic plexus. Sympathetic nerves are vasomotor, and they are inhibitory to the gastric musculature and stimulate the pyloric sphincters, hence help in digestion. The parasympathetic supply is through the vagus nerve, which is mainly secretomotor, that is increases the gastric secretions. It stimulates the gastric muscles and inhibits the pyloric sphincter. The pain fibers travel along the sympathetic nerves, that is from T6 to T9 segments. Hence, in case of distension or ischemia of the stomach, the referred pain is felt in the epigastrium due to common supply from the 6 to 9 thoracic segments. The parasympathetic nerve supply, which is through the vagus, is secretomotor, that is, increases the secretions from the gastric glands. The anterior vagal trunk, which is mainly derived from the left vagus, it gives a celiac branch to the celiac plexus, a hepatic branch which runs towards the right towards the liver or the porta hepatis and divides into an ascending branch to supply the liver and gallbladder and a descending branch which supplies the pylorus. A gastric branch or the nerve of Letaget, it runs along the lesser curvature of the stomach up to the pylorus. It terminates by dividing into number of branches which resemble the feet of a crow, hence called pes anserinus, and these supply the pyloric antrum. The posterior vagal trunk, which is derived from the right vagus nerve, also gives a celiac branch to the celiac plexus, a nerve to Grassi, which arises at the gastroesophageal junction and supplies the fundus, a gastric branch or the nerve to Letaget, which follows the same course as the anterior vagal trunk, that is, runs along the lesser curvature and ends by supplying the pyloric antrum. The parasympathetic supply to the stomach is through the vagus, which is mainly secretomotor, that is, increases the secretions of the gastric glands. These gastric glands, mainly the ones present in the fundus, are responsible for producing hydrochloric acid, which is in turn responsible for the gastric or peptic ulcers. Hence, in case of peptic ulcers which are resistant to antacid treatment, a surgical procedure is undertaken to cut the vagus nerve. This is known as vagotomy. The types of vagotomy can be a truncal vagotomy, where the trunk or vagus nerve is sectioned. However, a complication is the loss of parasympathetic supply to the liver and gallbladder. A selective vagotomy is preferred, where the hepatic and celiac branches are preserved and the nerve of Letaget is sectioned. However, in both these procedures, due to denervation of the pyloric antrum, there is delayed gastric emptying. So, the procedure of choice is a highly selective vagotomy, wherein only the gastric branches of the nerve of Letaget are cut and the branches which supply the pylorus, that is the crow's feet, are preserved. However, care must be taken by the surgeon to ensure that the nerve of Grassi, which supplies the fundic glands, is also sectioned. Otherwise, the procedure would be useless. Thank you for a patient hearing and a happy learning to all of you.